But what's the story of the bell in the tower? Remember a few minutes ago I asked somebody how old it was, and I told you it was 128 years old. So it has a story. The bell in the tower was cast in 1884 at the McShane Bell Works near Baltimore, Maryland. In 1888, the Society of Friends, the Quakers, in the Indiana, Pennsylvania area purchased the bell, sent it to Maryville, Tennessee to be hung in the Freedmens Institute. The Freedmens Institute was a 3-story rectangular brick building, does that sound familiar, which was located on what is now the Maryville High School campus. And they had opened the Freedmens Institute in 1872 to educate black students, to prepare them to go out and teach in the community. But in 1888, they gave the Freedmen's Institute a bell. And this bell called those students to class for 13 years. In 1901, the Quakers sold the building and the campus, to a local man, Mr. Bill Joe Henry, Mr. Charles Henry, but everybody called him Bill Joe. And in 1901, he opened the Maryville Polytechnic Institute. It was a private high school. And it emphasized business courses, accounting and typing and shorthand and so forth, preparing men and women to go out into the community and work in the business world. Although he also had a core of liberal arts courses, English and history and social studies and science also. Mr. Henry ran this school until 1926. He closed the school and sold the building, the plant, to the city of Maryville. And in 1927, the city of Maryville moved Maryville High School, which had been in the Fort Craig area, to the building on the current site that had been the Freedmen's Institute and Maryville Polytechnic School. And for 11 years, Maryville High School was there. In 1938, the city decided to raze the old building and build a new modern campus, and they put the bell temporarily in storage. And then they heard that Maryville College needed a bell. And the bell was given to the college in 1938, and has been hanging in the tower since then, calling students to class to rise at 6:30, I think was the more modern time. And just a word about the electric bells. It might be of interest to you. The first electric bells on campus were in operation in 1945, 1946, but they only rang in the halls, in the dormitories, in the library, in Pearson's, in the dining hall. So the bell was still needed to call students to class. And it continued to call them to class to the early 1960s, when finally a new bell system was put in. And the bell system was located in the old registrar's office, which was, I think, where the education, help me students, technology lab or library in the front of Anderson is located now. That was the registrar's office. And there was a big box on the wall that controlled all the bells. And I know when I was working in the registrar's office, I had to go over there and punch all the buttons to turn the bells off for commencement and events of that nature. The bells finally were simply turned off in the late 80s, around 1990, and faculty then were responsible for the beginning and the ending of class on time. Bad idea. Yeah, I had to say that because some people are more long-winded than others. So that's the story of the bell. The bells. I need to make sure I say that in plural. There are so many stories about Anderson Hall, and just think about the people who've known these stories and have shared them with others. And we're getting ready to renovate Anderson so that for the next 142 years, students can come up with their own stories about Anderson Hall and share them with other people.